There are moments in life when a single object, something as small as an old photograph, can break open a memory you didn't even know you'd lost. For 40 years, I believed that part of my past was gone forever, buried, erased. But the morning I found that photo, the one I'm holding in my hand right now, I felt something shift inside me. Not a memory, a warning, because the face beside mine in that picture belonged to someone I was never supposed to forget. And the moment I turned it over, I understood why. You never expect your entire life to shift because of a small cardboard box sitting quietly on your front porch. The kind of box that looks too ordinary to matter, too harmless to hold anything dangerous. Yet the moment I bent down and saw my name written on the lid in a handwriting that shook with age for Robin, as promised, something inside me cracked open in a way I hadn't felt since I was a much younger man. A version of myself I barely remembered, a version who believed in promises he wasn't sure he could keep. I had been returning from my morning walk, the kind where your knees complain more than your lungs, when I noticed the box sitting directly in front of my door, like it had been placed there with purpose, almost reverence. There was no delivery truck in sight, no footsteps in the snow, no sign of anyone leaving in a hurry, just that small, unassuming brown box absorbing the quiet of the winter morning. My breath formed little clouds as I lifted it. It was too light for anything valuable, too heavy for anything meaningless. Inside the box was a single photograph, old, slightly bent at the corners, smelling faintly of cedar and diamond. When I turned it over, my heart fell so sharply I had to grip the porch railing to steady myself, because in that photo, standing next to a small wooden bridge, was a much younger version of me, 30, maybe younger, smiling down at a little girl holding my hand. And on the back of the photo, written in a thin, almost childlike script, were 5 words that hollowed me out from the inside. You promised you'd come back for me. For a long moment, I stood frozen, staring at the photo like it was a ghost resurrected from a part of my life I had buried so deeply even my dreams couldn't reach it. I didn't recognize the girl, not her wide hazel eyes, not the way her hair curled softly around her cheeks, not the red knitted sweater she wore with missing buttons, but the look on her face, the complete trust. The way she leaned into me felt like a memory my body remembered even if my mind refused to. A child doesn't look at a stranger that way. My chest tightened painfully. I stumbled into the house, dropping into the armchair by the window, the photo trembling between my fingers. I turned it over again, hoping the handwriting might spark something familiar. You promised you'd come back for me. Promised. That word alone felt like an accusation. I whispered to myself, I don't even know who you are. But something, some buried, trembling instinct answered back. Yes, you do. The room felt cold, too quiet. My dog Lily shuffled over, sensing something off, resting her head on my knee, grounding me. I looked at the photo again, at the younger me. He looked lighter than I remember ever being, his eyes brighter, his shoulders unburdened. Who had I promised? And why couldn't I remember a promise that clearly meant everything to this little girl? I set the photo on the table and examined the box. No shipping label. No return address, nothing but my name. A thought crept in like a draft under a door. What if this wasn't meant to find me now, but was meant to find me much earlier? Maybe it had gotten lost. Maybe someone held onto it for years. Or maybe more unsettling, maybe someone waited for the right moment. I picked up the photo again and studied the background. A small wooden bridge over a shallow creek. Tall birch trees swaying behind us. Sunlight slanting through the leaves. The scenery stirred something faint. A smell of pine. Children's laughter, a summer I couldn't place. Was it or that small retreat outside Oregon? My memories, once sharp and vibrant, felt like a stack of old Polaroids left too long in the sun, edges curling, colors fading. And then, before I could stop myself, I whispered the question aloud. Who are you, little one? The house, like an old theater after the audience leaves, swallowed my voice whole. I stared at the clock. Las 10:17 AM. And then a knock at the door. Not loud, not urgent, just 2 gentle taps that made my blood freeze. The timing was too precise, too eerie. I stood slowly, my heart thudding in my chest, and walked toward the door, each step heavy with that sinking sense of inevitability. When I opened it, a woman stood there, mid-30s, pale from the cold, eyes red as if she'd cried the entire way here. She held her hands clasped tightly to stop them from shaking. Robin, she asked softly. Her voice cracked around my name like it hurt her to say it. I nodded, unsure, unsettled. Yes, she exhaled, relief and grief mixing in her breath. I wasn't sure you'd still be here. I blinked. Do I know you? Her eyes glistened. Not anymore. She stepped inside without waiting for permission, moving as if the house was familiar to her. as if she had been here before. She looked around, memories flickering across her face like shadows. "My name is Claire," she said. "Claire Callahan." The surname hit something in me, a flicker, a whisper of a whisper. "Have we met?" I asked. She pressed her lips together. "We have. A long time ago, and the little girl in the photo." My voice trembled. Claire swallowed hard. "That's my sister, Emily." My knees weakened. "Your sister?" She nodded. "She adored you, Robin. She waited for you every summer. She used to sit by that bridge for hours hoping you'd appear again." I stared at her, disbelief and guilt twisting inside me. I don't remember her." Claire wiped her cheeks with the back of her hand. "I know," she whispered, "and that's the tragedy." She reached into her coat pocket and pulled out a folded letter. "Emily wrote this for you. She wrote it the day before she disappeared." My breath caught. "Disappeared?" Claire nodded, voice trembling. "She was 8. One moment she was playing by the creek, and the next she was gone. No trace, no answers." She pressed the letter into my hands. "She never stopped waiting for you. Not until the day she vanished." The weight of the letter felt heavier than the box itself. Why would she be waiting for me? Claire closed her eyes as if preparing for a blow. "Because you made her a promise. You told her you'd come back for her at the end of summer." Before school started, a sharp ache pulsed in my chest. "Claire, I swear to you I don't remember any of this." She nodded slowly. "I know you don't, because something happened the night after Emily disappeared. Something you blocked out." Her eyes locked onto mine. "And whatever it was, it changed you." I unfolded the letter slowly, the paper delicate with age. Emily's handwriting was small but hopeful, each letter stretching upward as if reaching for me across decades. "Dear Robin, I'll be by the bridge tomorrow. You promised. Please don't forget me. Love, Emily." I lowered the letter, my vision blurring. "Claire, I don't understand. Why now? Why send the photo and the box now?" Claire's voice dropped to a whisper. "Because someone found something connected to Emily, and they blame you." My breath stuttered. "Blame me? For what?" She took a shaky breath. "For not coming back for her." My hands trembled. "But I didn't know you did," Claire whispered. "You just forgot." Before I could respond, a car engine rumbled outside. Claire's head snapped toward the window, eyes widening in fear. "They followed me," she whispered. I tried to lose them, but her voice broke. "Robin, they think you know more than you're saying. They think you remember what happened that night." My pulse thundered. "Claire, I don't remember anything." She grabbed my wrist. "You will," she said, "because someone else is coming. Someone who was there that night." Her voice turned raw. "The visitor." A shadow moved outside the frosted glass. Claire's grip tightened. "Robin, he's coming back." The knock at the door was louder this time, and I realized, with a fear I hadn't felt in decades, whoever was on the other side of that door knew exactly what I promised, and why I never kept it. The second knock at the door was louder, sharper, as if the past itself had grown impatient with me, and as I stood there frozen in the dim afternoon light, clutching Emily's small letter in my trembling hand, Claire whispering, "Don't open it, not yet," something inside me cracked in a way it hadn't in decades. A deep tectonic shift inside the memory I had spent most of my life burying without even realizing I'd buried it. And for the first time since that cardboard box appeared on my porch that morning, I felt an old, familiar fear crawl up my spine, the fear of being recognized by someone who remembers you far more clearly than you remember them. Claire moved closer to the door, her breath shaky, as if she could sense the identity of the person behind it without needing to look. "Robin," she whispered, "if you open that door, everything you forgot will come rushing back at once. Are you prepared for that?" Her words rattled around in my mind like loose stones. Was I prepared for anything anymore? I had lived a long life, long enough to know that some truths don't wait for permission to return. My hand inched toward the doorknob just as she grabbed my wrist, her grip surprisingly firm for someone trembling so badly. "Robin, please," she pleaded. "Listen to me." The man outside, he was there. The night Emily vanished, the night you collapsed by the creek. My breath caught. "I collapsed." Claire nodded slowly. "You did. I found you hours later. You were lying near the old bridge, soaked, shaking, whispering her name over and over. And when you woke up, you didn't remember anything." Her voice cracked. "You looked at me like I was a stranger." Before I could react, the knock came again, 3 heavy, deliberate strikes. Not angry, not violent, but certain, like a man knocking on the door of a home he once knew intimately. Claire stepped back, shaking her head. "He's not here to hurt you," she whispered, "but he's not here to comfort you either. He's here because the truth is too big to stay buried any longer." I didn't know how to respond to that. My heart felt like it was beating against a wall inside my chest. Finally, with a breath that tasted like fear, I turned the knob. The door opened. A tall man stood on the porch. Older than me by a few years, maybe, though the lines on his face were carved deeper, not by age but by guilt. His hair was gray at the temples, his shoulders broad but slumped, as if carrying 40 years of weight he never learned to set down. When he lifted his eyes to mine, deep, exhausted, blue as winter shadows, my entire body jolted. Recognition slammed into me, not as a memory, but as a sensation, as familiarity older than recollection. Claire gasped behind me. "You made it," she said. The man exhaled slowly. "I told you I would." He stepped forward. Not toward Claire, toward me. "Hello, Robin," he said softly. My throat tightened. Do I know you?" His eyes softened with an unbearable sadness. "Yes," he whispered, "better than anyone." Claire wiped her eyes. "Robin, this is Thomas." The name hit me like a blow, not because I remembered it, but because I felt it, deeply, a name my bones recognized. I swallowed hard. "Thomas, how do we know each other?" He took a slow breath. "We were both there the night Emily disappeared, and we've both spent our lives running from what happened." A cold shiver crawled across my chest. "Tell me," I whispered. "Tell me everything." He nodded once, stepping inside, closing the door behind him with gentle finality. "It was the end of summer," he began. "The last day before she vanished. You were supposed to walk her home. She asked you to come back and say goodbye before she started school." His voice trembled. "You promised her, and you don't break promises, not to children." He paused, rubbing the bridge of his nose as if fighting off tears. "But you didn't know. You didn't know she wasn't going home that night." Claire pressed a hand to her mouth, looking away. Thomas continued. "She waited for you on the bridge. Hours passed. You didn't come. You had a show that night. A rehearsal ran late. You were younger, then ambitious, hungry, hopeful." His eyes dimmed, "and because you weren't there, she wandered off alone." My chest twisted painfully. "No," I whispered. "I don't." But Thomas shook his head gently. "It wasn't your fault. You didn't know. You would have come. You always came for her." He looked at Claire, voice cracking. But someone else was watching her. Someone who knew she'd be alone if Robin didn't show up. Claire's face hardened. "Our father," she whispered. Thomas nodded grimly. "The man who believed Emily didn't belong to this world, that she knew too much, that she saw things before they happened." My stomach twisted. "Saw things," Claire nodded. "Emily had moments. She'd describe events before they occurred, like knowing when storms were coming, or when someone would call before the phone rang." Her voice dropped. "She saw the night she disappeared. She wrote it in her journal. She tried to warn me. She told me you were in danger too." My knees weakened. I sank onto the couch, the letter trembling in my hand. "Why me?" Claire exchanged a look with Thomas. A heavy silence passed before she answered. "Because you were the only adult she trusted," she whispered, "and our father hated that." Thomas cleared his throat. "That night, when she vanished, you found her journal. You saw the last entry she ever wrote." His voice softened. It said, "If I disappear, he'll come for Robin next." My breath stopped, and then Thomas's jaw tightened. "You went to the woods behind the bridge, searching for her, calling her name. You found something by the creek, something that broke you in a way no one understood." Claire's voice cracked. "You found her ribbon, the one she wore every day." My hands shook, and then I collapsed. "Yes," Thomas said quietly, "from shock, from grief, from the truth." He paused. "When I found you, you kept saying, 'I promised, I promised, I promised.' You didn't stop until you lost consciousness." Claire wiped her eyes. "When you woke up, your mind protected you. It erased everything." Thomas nodded. "Nora tried to help you remember, for years, but every time the memories came back, even a little, you got worse. So she did the only thing she could." His voice broke. "She made you forget, to save you." Silence pressed into the room like a storm. Finally, I managed to whisper, "Why send the photo now? Why bring all this back?" Thomas swallowed hard. "Because they found something 2 weeks ago." Claire nodded. "Deep in the woods, near where Emily disappeared. What did they find?" I asked, afraid of the answer. Thomas's voice was barely a breath. "A locket, buried under fresh dirt. Fresh, not decades old. Fresh." My head spun. "You're saying she might still be alive?" Claire's eyes filled with tears. "I'm saying she might have been alive much longer than we thought. Maybe she was taken somewhere. Hidden." Thomas added quietly, "Maybe she's still waiting for you to keep your promise." A sound broke the tense stillness, the shuffle of gravel outside the window. Claire's face paled. Thomas lowered his voice to a whisper. "They followed me here." My heartbeat thundered. "Who?" Claire answered. "Our father's followers. The ones who believed Emily had a gift they needed. My blood froze. Thomas stepped in front of me. Robin, they want the photo. They think the background will lead them to where Emily was taken. Claire pointed to the bridge behind us in the picture. That creek isn't the one from our childhood. She swallowed. It's from somewhere else. Somewhere she was moved to. The car door slammed outside. Footsteps approached. Thomas looked at me with painful urgency. Robin, listen to me. You're the last person she trusted. You're the only person she believed would come for her. My breath trembled. But I don't remember anything. Claire knelt beside me. You don't need to remember, she whispered. Just keep the promise. The knock at the door rattled the walls. 3 men's silhouettes darkened the window. Thomas grabbed my shoulder. Robin, are you ready? And for the first time in 40 years, I felt something return. Something small but fierce. Something buried under decades of silence. I felt the promise, the one I made to a little girl who once held my hand, and this time I would not fail her. If you stayed with me through this entire story, thank you. Some promises stay with us, even when our memories don't, and sometimes, all it takes is a single moment, a photo, a voice, a face, to remind us who we were meant to be. If this story brought back a memory of your own, or touched your heart in any way, I'd be honored to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if you'd like to join me for more emotional, nostalgic stories like this one, feel free to subscribe and leave a like. It truly helps this little corner of storytelling stay alive. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and take care of each other.